So the cringeworthy hacks at CNN decided to continue being cringy and continue fawning over the deep state and the establishment with this incredibly idiotic pro-military industrial complex, pro-deep state segment. And I don't know, you're just gonna you're gonna be rolling your eyes and just totally like just laughing and scoffing at the way they covered this specific squad of members of Congress here. But I don't want to give too much away. So check out this this CNN segment, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Even before they were elected,
you have adopted the badass label.
These freshman Congresswomen created their own group, the Badasses.
We were out running for Congress, across the country, and we kept running into each other. Badasses kind of came organically from the group since we all had either served in the military or in the CIA.
We have a lot in common. We all were working to flip seats, to be elected in places where voters may not typically vote for people like us or with our backgrounds.
Navy veterans Mikie, Sherrill, and Elaine Luria. Air Force veteran Chrissy Houlahan. Ex-CIA officers Elissa, Slotkin, and Abigail Spanberger. A band of sisters who bonded while storming the unfamiliar terrain of politics.
Being able to text folks and say, I'm really getting hit up on this issue. How have you been handling it? I'm not sure how to translate my service into something that's relatable. How do you guys do that?
Translating their service is exactly what they did with their 180 on starting an impeachment inquiry. Going from no to yes after hearing President Trump admit he spoke to Ukraine's leader about Joe Biden. Others followed suit, including the House Speaker.
The specter of having the sitting president of the United States use leverage over a foreign leader to get dirt on an opponent. Like that very basic idea, I think, cut for us as national security people just close to the bone on, sort of our democratic institutions.
They penned an op-ed along with two freshman male veterans.
It was a great example of the power of teamwork and the power of kind of putting country above
Was
party.
it all for one and one for all?
Oh, absolutely.
I think we all sort of came to that conclusion together. We texted each other, and I think we were all going, okay, I think this is all changed. This is a bright line.
Backing an impeachment inquiry is risky political business for these Congresswomen, already some of the most vulnerable in the House, Democrats who won in mostly Trump territory.
I believe that if I am out there explaining what these allegations are and why they are so deeply concerning, that people will understand why we had to take a stand.
All of us in our prior lives, all the time, had to make hard calls for the reasons we thought were right when we knew that not everyone would understand or even know. And that, to me, is something I feel comfortable doing because I've always had to do it.
Even so, this is a group still trying to find their sea legs in politics.
I'm supervising the operation of nuclear reactors. I never turned to the reactor operator and said, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? It was new to jump into such a partisan environment.
These women brought change when they walked in the door, especially to this particular committee room where 4 of the women serve.
We're sitting here surrounded by portraits of chairmen of this Armed Services Committee.
And it's likely that many of the men who surround us did not serve in that capacity. You were on ships, I was an engineer, you were a pilot. We were all, kind of experiencing our service in different ways.
I did 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military as a CIA officer, carrying a weapon and wearing my body armor. And I think there's something about having done prior service that connects you to the consequences of the decisions that are being made here and at the White House.
They represent swing districts, very different from another more famous female freshman group, the Squad.
Okay, so I'm just going to put it out there. The group of freshman females that people know about is the Squad. Are you guys the anti-Squad?
What I tell people in my district, the left wing of our party has created such momentum behind things like moving forward on our environment.
None of us is ever going to get in a Twitter war with anyone else. If we have a concern with someone, we're going to go right up and talk to them about it. And we're not going to add unhelpful rhetoric to an already bad tone coming out of Washington.
Is there frustration that the squad and the Twitter wars get headlines?
I don't care who has the headlines. I care about the legislation that we prioritize. I don't think any of us want to be the loudest voice in the room. I just want to be one of the most effective.
I'm down this nook, and then Mikey's just down there.
They picked offices near one another, which they say makes it easier to work together.
We wanted to be able to know that, I could swing by.
We have definitely sat around in this office. I've brought some Michigan beer into New Jersey. It's just a place for us to sit on each other's couch and just relax.
Bonding not just over their jobs, but family.
I have 3 daughters. They are now 5, 8, and 11. My middle daughter wants to be Chrissy Houlahan for Halloween.
Is that right?
100%.
It's going to be hard to pull off. I'm not sure how she's going to do it.
Somebody said to me the other day, they said, well, you're just real down to earth. You're not, you're pretty humble. And I said, yeah, I have a 14-year-old daughter. It's really hard not to be.
When Slotkin started running for Congress, people were surprised that her husband played an active role.
In the beginning of the campaign, a lot of people would say, you guys are so modern. And, it's so interesting. And I said, what does that mean?
They were used to either a man running for office, or there is a strong woman, but their husband is nowhere to be seen. So when they saw a strong woman and a strong man together, that was new for them.
Their previous service taught them to be fearless, which comes in handy now.
There's not a vertical chain of command structure, so at previous...
Well, there is, but obviously it sounds like you guys aren't following it.
No, but no one can fire us. Except the people that elected us.
Yeah.
None of us came to Congress from a district that wants us to just sit here and be quiet and learn the ropes. They want us to engage, and they want change, and they want it now.
So, there couldn't be any more fawning over these troops, or well, how many? 3 of them were Air Force, Army, whatever it was. And then the other 2 were like in the CIA or whatever. Jesus Christ! Come on, man. Why is this? In what capacity? I can understand the whole idea of like, oh, you were troops in the, you were part of the troops, and then you're totally patriotic and you love America, all that shit. I would hope Democrats were not involved in this shit, but unfortunately, it's happening. But the whole CIA stuff is ridiculous. There's another woman. Her name is Valerie Plame. You may have heard of her. She's also running for Congress, I believe, in New Mexico. And she was outed by the chief of staff of Dick Cheney, Scooter Libby. And he was actually recently, I think, in jail. And then recently he got pardoned by President Trump. And so she's another one that's running for Congress too. So she'll probably join the badasses. That's what a stupid name. And they claim like, oh, we're not trying to be like the squad. You're trying to be like the squad, which is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan, Omar, Rashida, Tlaib, Ayanna, Pressley. But clearly, they're trying to be just like them, but they pretend as if they're not. But yeah, so like I can see, Valerie Plame, if she were elected, would probably join them too. So like they said in the segment, mainly these women were mainly elected in more or less conservative, pro-Trump districts, where centrist, moderate, Democrat corporate types are more preferable. So they decide. So this is the part that kind of annoys me. They decided to be in favor of impeaching Donald Trump. So because this whole hoopla, but like the Ukraine scandal, after that brewed, now they're in favor of impeaching Trump. And because he tried to dig up dirt on Joe Biden and stuff. And this is the same thing they mentioned in the segment. The same exact reason Nancy Pelosi is in favor of impeachment now. So notice, they're not in favor of impeachment when it comes to Donald Trump violating the Emoluments Clause of the United States Constitution, the Constitution that these members of the military, former members of the military, seem to care about so much. They pretend to care about so much. They don't care about the Emoluments Clause, and they don't care about the illegal war in Yemen, which, by the way, Bernie Sanders used the War Powers Act to declare it's unconstitutional. So the unconstitutional illegal war in Yemen that Donald Trump is currently waging, along with Saudi Arabia, as being Donald Trump allowing Saudi Arabia to make them his bitch. He is the bitch of Saudi Arabia, allowing them and the United States to bomb the shit out of hundreds of thousands of innocent Yemeni people. That didn't do it. So that didn't do the emoluments clause. Didn't do it. It did it because oh my God, they tried to burn. Donald Trump tried to dig up dirt on Joe Biden. That's terrible. Now, what was this dirt that's being dug up on Biden? It's regarding his own son, Hunter Biden, receiving $50,000 from a Ukrainian oil company. He received money from, I think it was oil or gas company. He received money from a Ukrainian company, $50,000 a month. Not $50,000, $50,000 a month. His own son received. Now, did his son work in the industry before? Did he have any prior experience, working in the oil and gas industry? Nope. Hunter Biden was receiving money from this company, so that so it was used, and this is, by the way, during the Obama administration when Joe Biden was VP. So this was essentially he took that position so that company could, so the company employs Joe Biden's son, gives him $50,000, and then what do? They end up getting favors from Joe Biden, Obama, and then Joe Biden's administration. So because the VP's son is working for this company, they give him $50,000 a month. By the way, that's, if you multiply that by 12, that is $600,000 a year. $50,000 a month. 50,000 times 12. That's $600,000 a year for one person. That's how much Hunter Biden was receiving because he had to work at this Ukrainian oil and gas company. So he receives that money, and then what did the Obama administration do? They give political favors to this Ukrainian oil and gas company. I mean, that's the height of corruption. That is the height of corruption that anybody with a fucking half brain can see. You can see that that's a fucking problem. And then what are the Democrats doing? They're saying, oh my God, we need to defend our pal Joe Biden, our Democrat Joe Biden, because he's being called out for a completely legitimate reason, which they don't believe is legitimate, by the way, but because one of their buddies in the Democratic Party is getting called out for this, you got to go and now you can go and demand an inquiry into Trump's digging up dirt. So, and to be fair, Trump shouldn't have done what he did. Nobody's saying that what Trump did is perfectly normal and it's legal and he should be allowed to do. But what I am saying, and what progressives are saying, is that what Biden's son did and what Biden did and what the Obama administration was trying to do is also illegal and shouldn't be done. But because this is kind of stuff that just happens and it's stuff that's allowed and it's totally normal, nobody says shit. Everybody just shuts their mouth. Shush. Don't say anything, because Joe Biden is one of our Democrat buddies, and we have to protect him at any cost, especially if he's going to go and face Biden. And now this is something that Kyle Kulinski has referred to. This is essentially Clinton Foundation 2.0, and the way the Democrats are reacting to it is it's Clinton Foundation denialism 2.0, because they're using the same mentality. They are using the same exact mentality of, it wasn't, it wasn't corrupt. They were just, the Clinton Foundation was just taking money from Saudi Arabia and Qatar. It's not a big deal. They didn't do anything illegal. They just, Bill Clinton went and did favors for the Clinton Foundation by giving, speeches, just on and on and on and on. It's all this stuff, this corruption is so ingrained in our political society that people it's so sad how they need to defend it, and now they're going out of their way to defend Joe Biden because he did a perfectly so-called legal thing, even though it is illegal in the sense that it's a conflict of interest, but it's legal in our system because bribery and money corrupting everything is legal in our system. And then so I got off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I want to give my position on that. So that's why they decided to go to do an impeachment inquiry. So these 5 women also got on board and decided to do that. So that's very convenient for them, I'm sure. And then they also serve on committees which had mostly had male politicians serving as chairs. So they're using the typical identity politics route here, and they're saying that they're men controlling everything. No, it's women's turn. It's women's turn to control everything. Even though we're going to end up pushing for the same exact system, the same exact military-industrial complex. Same exact system of where the military-industrial complex runs everything. We don't say shit. We just do whatever the powers that be have to say. We just serve them. But we're going to be we're going to be females on the hopefully the heads of committees. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous. Everything is about identity with these people, whether it's on the left or the right. Honestly, with the right, it's more about, being religious and, I'm a Christian and all that shit. But with these people, it seems to be just mostly about being a woman and then taking over men, regardless of their policy differences. And then one of them says that they won't get into a, quote, Twitter war with someone else or, quote, add unhelpful rhetoric to an already bad tone coming out of Washington, referring to Donald Trump, but also referring to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because the host, Dana Bash, asked them about the squad, which consists of Ocasio-Cortez, Omar, Tlaib, and Pressley. And they said, well, we don't want to be in a Twitter war with anybody, and we don't want to add unhelpful rhetoric. And that's because, mainly because Ocasio-Cortez, out of all of them, for sure, AOC is the most active on Twitter and social media. So this person is saying, oh, yeah, we don't want to... we don't want to cause any problems like that. We don't want to be involved in Twitter wars. So that's like a veiled shot at AOC essentially. And God forbid somebody's too progressive and outspoken, but I don't know. Sometimes women out there say we have to be independent and outspoken. Now all of a sudden they don't want to be like that no more. And then another one of them says that none of them, referring to the 5 of them, want to be the, quote, loudest voice in the room, just very effective. Okay, well, obviously you're not getting into the details of anything, but and it's sad because they this whole thing is like, okay, I don't want to be the loudest voice in the room, but I just want to be very effective. And again, it boils down to the very effectiveness of allowing the corrupt system to continue existing, and then I'm just going to keep servicing that system, and I'm going to keep maintaining it and allowing it to exist, and that's all it really is about. And then another one of them says, and then another one talks about how people have said how, quote, down to earth and humble they are, even after taking veiled shots at AOC and about how she gets into Twitter wars. So. No, you're not humble and you're not down to earth. And they talk about, we have kids and, they're family women and they're okay with having their husbands involved. And, that taught them to be fearless, taught them to, being in the military and stuff, that taught them to be fearless and stuff, standing up to everybody and standing up for what they believe in. A bunch of fucking ridiculous cliches and platitudes. And then finally, another one of them says, none of us came from a district that wants us to just sit here, be quiet, and learn the ropes. They want us to engage, and they want change, and they want it now. So first of all, when it comes to that whole sit here, be quiet, and learn the ropes, it's ironic that they say that, because that's exactly what people were saying to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez when she first got into Congress and started to, create a firestorm, standing up for specific types of policies and pushing progressive stuff, Green New Deal and stuff like Medicare for All. And, people were like, oh, why don't you just learn the ropes? Why don't you just learn from Nancy Pelosi? Why are you being such why aren't you being such a thorn in the side to the Democrats? You should be attacking Republicans more, blah, 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 all that bullshit. So, it's kind of strange now that these people are saying, well, we don't want to be quiet and just sit there and learn the ropes. But you say that to Ocasio-Cortez. Very ironic. and then they cover that so glowingly here at CNN. And then they say they want us to engage and they want change and they want it now. I guarantee you 5 women who were either in the military or worked for the CIA or whatever intelligence community, I guarantee you they are not going to push for any kind of change. They're not going to change anything. What are they changing? They're just 5 women instead of, I don't know who was in their positions before. Maybe they were men. There are 5 women possibly replacing 5 men. Okay, great. And so what are your policies, though? I guarantee you I don't know what their policies are, but I guarantee their policies, especially when they're coming from pro-Trump, red districts that are supposed to go more for Republicans, I guarantee you they're typical milquetoast, corporate right-wing type Democrats. And they're 5 white women. They're white women. Lily white women from districts that are not diverse. They don't have anything to do with, helping people of color. Oh, I was in the military. I was in the intelligence community. Oh, yeah, I totally know a lot. What I do has a lot of, what I learned there, gives me the opportunity or gives me a chance to know what it really feels like when I'm, serving in Congress or I'm serving as a politician. So they pretend. So notice the whole narrative is that because I was in the military and I'm a woman, I think the woman part is not emphasized as much, but it's more the fact that I was in the military, because they do the same thing with the men. Because I was in the military, it's, I deserve to be a politician and make big decisions because I was making the big decisions on the battlefield and I was making big decisions in the secret room that I was in when I was working for the CIA or the NSA or where the hell she was. And the woman part is just like a little extra cherry on top of identity politics, to be like, oh, look how strong these women are. They're so strong. They're so whatever. They're so brave. And they fought for the military and they fought to defend us from the bad guys and blah, blah, blah. It's like a fucking superhero story. So I can't stand this, man. This CNN, this is more an ode to how terrible CNN is and how they want to normalize the deep state and normalize neoliberalism and centrism and pretend as if, hey, the fact that the fact that our military veterans and deep state operatives are getting involved, they must know everything better than everybody else. They must know everything. They must be experts on every situation regarding government, and they're very competent in handling these situations, and everybody else just doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. So CNN is doing their best efforts at just sucking up to the deep state and trying to boost them up and pretend as if they're, wonderful and everything they do is great, and the troops are so wonderful and we need to honor the troops. Like, just like stop it. Nobody relates to this other than the people that are fucking troops. That's fine. If you like that, that's good for you. But that doesn't mean that just because you're in the military doesn't mean you get to go and make decisions, in favor of, big time decisions in the government just because you were in the military, just because you were in another branch of the government, military government, and now you're in the whatever legislative government means you're a perfect fit for that. But ironically, they're not, because they're going and deciding that you need to be in favor of impeachment just because a Democrat was, a Republican president dug up dirt on a Democrat. That's all it pretty much is. And on top of it, they're also not, like I said before, they're not going against the fact that the illegal, unconstitutional Yemeni war, which is killing hundreds of thousands of innocent people. You were members of the military, but yet you're okay with the U.S. military going and being involved in those wars. You're not saying shit about that. You're just talking about a politician digging up dirt on somebody, which, in his defense, in Trump's defense, he's right about what Joe Biden and his son did. But at the end of the day, and even though what he did was wrong, but if that's the only thing that's going to motivate you to demand impeachment and not an unconstitutional war, the Constitution you claim to care about so much, and the emoluments, which is also in the Constitution, which basically means that you can't use your presidency to affect your business dealings and what's happening in your businesses, whether it's his Mar-a-Lago golf resorts and his Trump hotels and shit like that. They don't say shit about that. that. They don't say nothing about that. They don't say nothing about illegal wars that are happening. They just care about the fact that a Democrat is getting dirt dug up on him. That's it. So at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of partisans. It's just a bunch of partisan corporate Democrats who are sticking up for their fellow Democrat, in this case Biden, who's running for president, and also, meanwhile, they're going to push for more wars. They're going to, support all the wars that we're in. Going to push for more moderate, centrist type policies that nobody wants, and neoliberal and centrist policies that nobody supports. And they're going to pretend as if everybody's in support of them because they're troops and former troops, and they were in the, CIA or whatever. Get the fuck out of here, CNN. Shame on you. Shame on these centrist corporate Democrats that can't stick to their principles and just want to do whatever they're told by Queen Pelosi over there, who declares something should be done. Finally, she declares impeachment, and it's based on something that happens to affect one of their friends in the Democratic Party. Fuck out of here.